We live in a world where it's so easy to measure our worth by what we can see, touch, and count. We measure by numbers on a paycheck, likes on a post, or the size of a house. And yet the most important parts of your life, your calling, your impact, your legacy, are invisible right now. Think about a seed. When it's buried in the ground, you can't see any progress. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But underground, the roots are forming. The seed is breaking open. Growth is taking place where the eye cannot see. That's what's happening in your life. There are seasons when you feel hidden, overlooked, or even forgotten. But what if this hidden season is the very place where your greater purpose is being shaped? What if what feels like waiting is actually preparation? You were not created by accident. Every detail of who you are, your abilities, your passions, even the pain you've been through, was designed for a reason. You may not see the entire picture right now, but you are a part of a story much bigger than yourself. Your life is not just about the years you live. It's about the difference you make while you're here. Sometimes the people who make the greatest impact are the ones who never see the full extent of their influence. The kindness you show today may inspire someone to change their life tomorrow. The small act of faith you take today may open doors for generations after you. Purpose is not found in chasing applause. It's found in serving a cause greater than yourself. It's found in asking, how can my life help someone else's life be better? When you live like that, every ordinary moment becomes extraordinary. So if you feel like you're in a place where nothing is happening, remember, the roots are growing. If you feel like your life is too small to matter, remember, you are part of something bigger than you can imagine. Your story is not finished. One day, you'll look back and realize that the detours were directions, the delays were development, and the disappointments were divine appointments. And you'll see that the purpose for which you were made was far greater than you could have ever seen at the time. We often think that if something is meant to happen, it should happen quickly and clearly. We expect our purpose to be visible, our calling to be obvious, and our direction to be unmistakable. But in reality, the most significant works in life begin in a place where no one else can see them. Purpose is often hidden before it's revealed. There is a process that takes place in the unseen that prepares you for the moment when your calling becomes visible to the world. Just like a seed must be planted deep in the soil, your life often has to go through a hidden season before it can bear fruit. Consider a seed for a moment. It's small, unimpressive, and when you hold it in your hand, you can't tell what it will become. But when that seed is placed in the ground, something extraordinary begins to happen. The seed must first break apart, die to its old form, and allow new life to emerge. This transformation takes place entirely underground, away from sight. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. The soil hides the process, and if you didn't know better, you might think nothing is changing at all. Yet, beneath the surface, life is beginning to take shape. In the same way, your life may be in a stage where everything you're doing feels unseen. You might be working hard, learning, growing, and building skills, but there's little visible evidence of progress. It's easy to get discouraged during this time because our natural instinct is to measure progress by what's visible to others. If people can't see it, we assume it's not happening. But that's not how purpose works. Some of the most important parts of your journey will be the parts no one else notices, the private decisions, the quiet prayers, the disciplines no one applauds. A seed that's pulled out of the soil too soon will never fulfill its potential. It needs that hidden season to develop roots. Roots are what give stability, strength, and the ability to withstand storms when the plant finally emerges. Without roots, it doesn't matter how beautiful the leaves or how vibrant the flowers are. The first strong wind could topple it. Likewise, your hidden seasons are where your roots are growing. This is where your character is being strengthened, where your values are being shaped, and where your foundation is being built. Without this unseen development, you wouldn't be able to sustain the weight of the purpose you're called to carry. This is why many people misinterpret waiting seasons as wasted seasons. Just because something is not visible doesn't mean it's not valuable. The things you learn in obscurity are often the very things that qualify you for greater opportunities later. It is in the hidden place that humility is formed, endurance is built, and faith is tested. These qualities are essential for fulfilling a greater purpose because without them, the responsibilities that come with that purpose would overwhelm you. Think about great works of art or architecture. Before a building rises into the sky, its foundation is dug deep into the ground. The deeper the foundation, the taller the building can stand. From the street level, you might see months of digging and heavy machinery moving dirt around with no visible walls or structure. It might seem like nothing is happening, but the truth is, the most critical part of the project is being completed. The part no one will ever see again once the building is finished. Your purpose works the same way. The deeper your foundation in this hidden season, the greater the impact you can have when your purpose is revealed. Even in nature, seasons are a reminder that everything valuable takes time to develop. Winter is a hidden season. Trees appear lifeless, fields look barren, and the air feels still. But under the surface, there's preparation happening. Roots are storing nutrients, seeds are waiting for the right temperature, and the soil is replenishing itself. When spring finally comes, the growth is rapid and beautiful. But it's only possible because of the work done in the hidden season. Your life's hidden seasons may not feel glamorous. There's little recognition, little reward, and often a lot of uncertainty. But purpose doesn't need an audience to grow. It needs commitment, faith, and patience. These are the qualities that will sustain you when the time comes for your purpose to be revealed. Just as a farmer doesn't dig up a seed every day to check if it's growing, you have to trust that what has been planted in you is developing exactly as it should, even if you can't yet see it. Many of the world's most impactful people spent years in hidden preparation before anyone knew their names. They learned in quiet places, failed in private, and built resilience without applause. When their moment came, they were ready, not because they suddenly became talented or gifted, but because they allowed the hidden season to do its work. In the same way, your unseen efforts, your quiet acts of faithfulness, and your private growth are laying the groundwork for a purpose that will one day be revealed in ways you cannot yet imagine. Your life is part of a bigger story. It's natural to see life only through the lens of your own experiences, your goals, your struggles, your responsibilities. But there is a much larger picture being painted, one that stretches far beyond your personal circumstances. Every person's life is like a single thread in an enormous tapestry. On its own, a thread might not look significant. It might seem too short, too dull, or too ordinary. But when woven together with millions of other threads, it becomes part of a breathtaking design. That's how your life works. You may not see the full pattern right now, but you are contributing to something far greater than you can imagine. When you understand that your life is not an isolated event, but part of a grand narrative, your perspective shifts. The moments that feel random start to make sense. The people you meet, the opportunities you're given, and even the challenges you face, all of them can be pieces of a larger puzzle. The story you're living is connected to other stories, and those connections often have a purpose beyond what is visible in the moment. Sometimes the bigger story is not revealed until much later. There are people whose small acts of kindness decades ago shaped the course of someone else's life. They may have never known the outcome, but they played a key role in a chain of events that changed a family, a community, or even history itself. You don't always get to see the impact you have, but that doesn't make it any less real. Your influence extends further than you realize because the story is still unfolding. It's like standing too close to a painting in an art gallery. When you're inches away, all you see are brushstrokes and patches of color that don't seem to connect. But when you step back, you begin to see the image take shape. Life often feels like that close-up view. You see the struggles, the waiting, and the daily routine, but not how it all comes together. The bigger story is still being painted, and every brushstroke, every choice, every interaction, every challenge is contributing to the final masterpiece. This truth also reminds you that your story matters, even if it feels small. In a larger narrative, there are no insignificant roles. A single conversation could plant a seed of hope in someone's heart. A decision to stand for what's right could influence generations. A choice to forgive could set off a ripple of healing you never witness. Just because you're not the main character in every chapter doesn't mean your part isn't vital to the story. Your life being part of a bigger story also means that some chapters won't be about you at all. There will be seasons where you're called to support someone else's dream, help build something you didn't start, or sacrifice for the sake of others. In the moment, it might feel like you're sidelined, but in the grand scheme, these contributions are threads that strengthen the entire fabric. Without them, the story wouldn't be complete. This perspective brings meaning to seasons of difficulty. Challenges can seem unfair, and struggles can feel pointless when viewed in isolation. But when you consider that your life is interwoven with countless others, you realize that your perseverance could inspire someone else to keep going. Your resilience could become the turning point in another person's journey. Pain is never wasted when it becomes part of a story that helps others. It also changes how you see success. If life is part of a bigger story, success is not measured solely by personal achievement, but by the role you play in the whole picture. It's not just about how far you go, but about how your journey influences the story around you. Sometimes success means reaching your goals. Other times it means enabling someone else to reach theirs. Either way, the story advances and your part in it remains significant. This understanding encourages you to live with both humility and responsibility. Sometimes the very thing you think is holding you back is actually positioning you for the future. You may think you're ready now, but there could be unseen factors that need to align first. People you'll meet, experiences you'll have, and lessons you'll learn in this season might be essential for what's coming. Skipping the waiting could mean stepping into the next stage without the tools you need to succeed. Think of an athlete in the off season. They're not in front of roaring crowds or breaking records. They're in the gym, practicing technique, building strength, and refining their form. When the season starts, the preparation they've put in during those quiet months makes all the difference. Waiting seasons in life function the same way. The effort you put into your personal growth, relationships, and spiritual life now will determine how effectively you can run when it's time to move forward. This time also allows you to see more clearly. When you're rushing, your vision can be narrow. You focus on the immediate goal and sometimes miss the bigger picture. In a waiting season, you have the space to evaluate your direction, adjust your plans, and even discover new passions or callings you hadn't considered before. It's often in the slower moments that you gain clarity about what truly matters and what's worth pursuing. Waiting can strip away the illusion of control. It teaches you to release the idea that you can force everything to happen on your timetable. There's freedom in recognizing that not every door needs to be pushed open and that some doors are better open for you at the right time. This shift in perspective can replace anxiety with peace because you begin to see waiting not as wasted time, but as appointed time. There's also a protective aspect to waiting. Sometimes the thing you're waiting for is good, but getting it too soon could harm you. Just as giving a child the keys to a car before they've learned to drive would be dangerous, stepping into a responsibility before you're ready could overwhelm you or even cause you to lose it altogether. Waiting seasons ensure that you're mature enough, strong enough, and wise enough to handle what's ahead without being crushed by it. In the middle of waiting, it's tempting to compare your timeline to others. You see people moving ahead, achieving goals, and stepping into new chapters while you're still in the same place. But comparing your season to theirs is like comparing the bloom of a rose to the growth of an oak tree. Different purposes require different timelines. What takes one person a year might take another person a decade, not because one is more capable than the other, but because the depth and scope of their purposes are different. The preparation that happens in waiting often becomes clear only in hindsight. You look back and realize that the skills you picked up in an ordinary job, the resilience you built during a personal trial, or the wisdom you gained from a delay were exactly what you needed for your next step. What felt like a frustrating pause was actually a necessary investment in your future. Impact often outlives visibility. Many of the things you do in life will have an influence you will never see with your own eyes. We live in a world that celebrates recognition, applause, and public acknowledgement, but true impact is often quiet, unseen, and long-lasting. A kind word, a small act of generosity, or a decision to live with integrity can ripple far beyond the moment it happens. You might think it's just a passing gesture, but for someone else, it could be a turning point. The seeds you plant through your actions can grow into something far greater than you imagined, and they may continue to bear fruit long after you're gone. When you measure your life only by visible results, you risk undervaluing the importance of what you're doing right now. Visibility doesn't equal significance. Some of the most influential people in history never saw the full outcome of their work. Teachers who shaped the minds of future leaders, parents who instilled values in their children, mentors who encouraged someone to keep going. Many of them passed away without ever seeing the ultimate results of their investment. Yet their impact lives on in the lives of those they influenced and in the people those individuals go on to influence. Think of it like a stone thrown into a pond. The moment the stone hits the water, you see the splash. That's the visible effect. But the ripples spread outward quietly, touching parts of the pond far from where the stone first landed. Your influence works the same way. The visible splash of your actions might seem small, but the ripples can keep moving outward, touching lives you may never meet. This is why it's important to act with intentionality, even when no one is watching. The way you live when you think it doesn't matter might be the very thing that changes someone else's life. There's also a generational aspect to impact. You may influence someone who then passes those lessons, values, or beliefs on to others. Over time, these ideas can shape entire families, communities, or cultures. You might never know that your decision to encourage someone in a difficult moment inspired them to keep going, which led to a breakthrough, which then inspired someone else. The chain reaction of influence is often invisible to the one who started it. Impact also extends through the example you set. People watch how you handle challenges, how you treat others, and how you respond under pressure. You might think no one notices, but there's always someone learning from you, whether intentionally or not. Your consistency in living according to your values can give someone else the courage to do the same. Even without speaking a word, your life can be a living message that continues to speak long after you're gone. Some of the most life-changing moments for people come from interactions that the other person barely remembers. A passing comment from a coach, a small act of kindness from a stranger, or a moment of compassion from a friend might not feel monumental at the time. Yet for the person on the receiving end, it can be the encouragement that shifts their perspective, renews their hope, or gives them the strength to keep going. The person who gave that encouragement may never know the effect it had, but that doesn't diminish its power. Impact that outlives visibility often requires a mindset shift. Instead of focusing on immediate recognition, you begin to value faithfulness over fame. You understand that your role is to plant seeds, even if you're not the one who gets to see the harvest. This mindset frees you from the need for constant validation because you trust that what you're doing matters, even if it's unseen. It's also worth noting that sometimes the most lasting impact comes from the smallest, simplest actions. A written note of encouragement, a meal shared with someone in need, a moment spent listening without distraction. These things might not make headlines, but they can be deeply meaningful. Over time, these small moments add up to a legacy of kindness, generosity, and love. Your influence is not limited to the people you interact with directly. In our interconnected world, your words and actions can travel farther than ever before. A message you share, a skill you teach, or a story you tell can be passed along to people you'll never meet, in places you'll never go. Technology has amplified the reach of individual lives. But even before this, human connection has always had a way of carrying influence further than we expect. Sometimes you are the answer to someone's unspoken prayer without even realizing it. You cross paths at the right time, offer the right word, or give the right opportunity. You may never hear about the effect you had, but your presence in that moment altered the course of their life in some way. This is why it's important to live intentionally every day, because you never know when your actions will be the catalyst for change in someone else's story. When you think about the people who have influenced you the most, you might realize that many of them never sought recognition. They simply lived their lives with integrity, compassion, and purpose. Their consistency and quiet example shaped you in ways that flashy accomplishments never could. That is the nature of impact. It often works quietly, invisibly, and over time. It seeps into hearts and minds, and its effects are felt long after the moment has passed. Detours and disappointments can be divine direction. It's natural to see interruptions to your plans as obstacles, but often they are the very things that lead you to where you're truly meant to be. When a door closes, the immediate reaction is frustration or confusion. You had a plan, you had a timeline, and now something has disrupted it. But sometimes that disruption is not a mistake. It's a redirection. It's the unseen hand of guidance turning you toward a path you didn't know you needed to take. Many of the most important turning points in life happen because something didn't go the way you expected. You might lose a job only to discover a career that fits you better. You might face rejection from one opportunity only to be accepted into something far more fulfilling. The disappointment you feel in the moment is real, but it's not the whole story. Often, it's just the first chapter in a redirection that will make sense only in hindsight. Only in hindsight. It's like taking a road trip and finding that the main highway is closed. You're forced onto a side road you never planned to take. At first, it feels inconvenient and slow. But as you travel, you see new views, meet new people, and experience things you would have missed if you had stayed on your original route. That's how detours work in life. They may seem like a delay, but they're often part of a design that leads you somewhere better. Disappointments have a way of revealing what's truly important. When your plans fall apart, it forces you to reassess your priorities. You begin to see what matters most and what you can live without. Sometimes the very thing you were chasing was never meant to be yours. Not because you were unworthy of it, but because it wasn't the best fit for your life's purpose. Letting go can feel painful, but it creates space for something greater to take its place. There's also a protective element in redirection. Not everything you desire is good for you in the long run. There may be dangers, burdens, or limitations you can't see yet. What feels like a missed opportunity could be shielding you from a path that would have brought more harm than good. The closed door that leaves you discouraged today may be the very thing that saves you from regret tomorrow. In moments of disappointment, it's easy to focus on what's lost instead of what's possible. But if you shift your perspective to see detours as part of your journey rather than a departure from it, you open yourself to discovering new opportunities. A detour doesn't mean you've left the path. It means the path is taking a different route to the same destination, or perhaps to a destination far better than you imagined. It's important to remember that some of the greatest successes and breakthroughs in history were born from moments of failure or rejection. People who have left lasting marks on the world often face setbacks, force them to adapt, innovate, or take a completely new approach. Without those disappointments, they may never have found the path that allowed their true potential to flourish. There's also a deep character building aspect to navigating detours. These moments teach resilience, adaptability, and faith. They show you that you can survive when life doesn't go according to your plan. They develop your ability to keep moving forward even when the way ahead isn't clear. These qualities will serve you in every future season of your life. Sometimes the detour is simply a pause. You might be ready to move forward, but the timing isn't right yet. The delay could be allowing other factors to align so that when you arrive, everything is in place for you to succeed. You may not see it now, but the right opportunity at the wrong time can be just as damaging as the wrong opportunity altogether. Waiting for the right alignment can make all the difference. In the moment, detours and disappointments can feel like the end of a dream. But over time, you begin to see how they were woven into your story for a reason. They brought you into contact with people you needed to meet, taught you lessons you needed to learn, and developed qualities you needed to carry. The road may have been longer and more winding than you planned, but it brought you to a place you never would have reached otherwise. When you start to see life's interruptions as intentional rather than accidental, you begin to trust the process more. You stop resisting every change of direction and start leaning into it, curious about what it might bring. Instead of seeing only what you lost, you begin to anticipate what could be gained. And more often than not, you find that what's ahead is richer, deeper, and more aligned with your true purpose than what you had in mind. So the next time you face an unexpected change of plans, remember that this might be more than a setback. It might be a setup. The road you didn't choose could lead to the destination you've always needed. The disappointment you're feeling now might be the foundation for joy you can't yet imagine. What seems like an ending could be the exact beginning you've been waiting for all along.